laid them down. Ah. So I did a live on the animations I'm gonna make. Yeah. Let's go away. Oh. Just reflective. Alright, so just going live. I'm just designing characters for the animation I was gonna put off, but I'm gonna start working on some animations for the Bible, because got little kids that's growing up with these altered versions of the Bible, where they see this or what some people are doing, where they correctly making illustrations of the Bible without alteration and idols. This is what that's for. And I'm just doing character designs. And right now I'm just doing the disciples. As you can see, I got Peter. Just putting the information for each one. How's it going? But yeah, I was just talking about how I have all the characters, their profiles, and now I'm just doing the designing. So I got Peter so far, I got Andrew, I got James the Greater, I got John, who's supposed to be the youngest disciple. Still need to do Philip. Got Bartholomew and Thomas. Thomas was the one who they say, doubting Thomas, but he ended up believing afterwards. And got Matthew. They say it was a tax collector. And got James. And I don't have any of the Judas. That's two Judas in the disciples. There's two Judas. Obviously, one is the one that's the traitor. This one's not the traitor. This one he's not. And I got a little bit of they all have like little backstories to them, because that's mentioning on what they did into their deaths, or what's known as their death. That's nothing much on him, but I gotta make him as well. And then there's Judas, the traitor, who hung himself. Sold Yeshua for 30 pieces of silver. And obviously, I have Yeshua and Mary. I gotta do Joseph. I'm thinking that's I'm gonna do right now. So I'll just show you how I designed the characters. I just used this site I used to use a long time ago. It's an avatar builder for this site called Gaia Online. And I'm just gonna make another character. Now, this thing, obviously, depending on who uses it and everything, it can be hard, because it has a lot of stuff in it, and it's mostly like I would say hedonistic stuff. But if you got skills on going through this, then you can find different stuff. It's hard to make it for like biblical times because a lot of stuff is like animated and new age stuff. But it's not hard. It may take a little bit. That's what one thing about this. When you're designing characters on this thing. The reason why I know about this is because I used to make animations for this. For another another time I was making animations. Actually, I'll see if I can find some of those, if I can. Let's see. Yeah, there's like some other stuff I was doing a while back, but I stopped making. It was like a different thing I was making. I don't know if it'll load, but it's like some old stuff. It's like different characters and stuff. But that's where also this one. It's like a character maker thing. So I'm kind of familiar with it. That's the only reason I use it. So I'm familiar with it because it can be kind of confusing using it. So I'm a little familiar with it. So I'm just I try to use visual references for Joseph's ideas. If I was more familiar, because I haven't used the app that long in a while, if I was more familiar, I would know what I'm going for. Because sometimes some things you gotta know the name of what it is and find different things. And there's a lot of characters I gotta make. But once I get all the characters down, then I can just start animating the animation. I already got the audio, and once I make Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew, I believe that I can fly through the Gospels fairly quickly, because then I already have the characters made and pretty much the Gospels are about the same. I plan on doing all three of them. And then we'll see what's after that, what we're going to make after that. But I'm going to make it word for word, exactly word for word, and with a visual visual reference, I think. But this is what I use. It's just a little avatar creator thing. I think there's a lot of different types. I just like this one because it has the most stuff, and I think it's pretty detailed, and it seems okay. So for me, it works. But like I said, sometimes it can be kind of hard finding what you're looking for, because it's more I think anime based. But when you find that design, it comes out great. I think it comes out really great. And let's see, Joseph, he seemed like, because he's a carpenter, so he just seems like he'll just have like some normal clothes. And he's not that big in the story. We only see him in about the beginning. Change his hair. And I think this would probably take once I make all the characters, I can fly through the animation fairly quickly. Probably take about, I would say, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month. Shouldn't be that long, I think. But it's all about patience and endurance. It's about patience and not giving up on working on it. I'll just give them. And I know some people they're fairly familiar with this site, and they could find different things fairly quickly. And I used to be familiar with it, but it's one of those sites that's always updating and getting more and more stuff. I don't know how many thousands of stuff it has. I was gonna make the characters their eyes blink, but that's just I don't need to do all that. It's about the story and getting it out because time is short. Time is short, and there's a lot of people who want to know the gospel, and a visual understanding, I believe, is always good. But a lot of the character design is based off of a lot of research, finding because if this is what's the main place that we're designing is Judah, Jerusalem. So Judah consists of two tribes, which is Benjamin and Judah. This doesn't mean that there was no other tribes, because outside you get the Samaritans, which they're Israel. As it was said, the Samaritan woman said that our father Abraham, she basically mentions that they have the same father, same lineage. It's just that when Israel has split and broke into two parts, when one part was Judah, which had Jerusalem, and one part was Samaria. I don't think I need to worry about the hair. And I gotta maybe just find a robe. So it's all about getting it, I believe, accurate, as in the story, as in how things go, whatnot. Because there's some decent videos that's word by word for word. I think they're word for word, but this is gonna be 100% word for word, like without extra words added in or extra dialogue. Just 100% what was said. I think I have it on where it shows the female too, but I could just take that one off, because if I'm just doing the male, I don't need the female. And it starts. Sometimes that happens, but that's okay. See, there's like 5,000 different items. It's a lot of items. Sometimes hard to find what you're looking for. I wish it was a. I was looking online for different um, things that was able to design a character. I mean, I can draw. I could just draw the character, but this just saves time because it takes a long time to draw a picture if you're gonna draw it right. I think. I don't know if Joseph had a cane. I don't think he had a cane. Plus his canes look strange. I think that should go back to of course not. I have to. They used to have another thing that was way more better than this one, but for this this site it was called, I think it was called TickTick or something like that, and it was okay for designing characters, and sometimes you can search for characters and someone already had one designed. But this can be sometimes it can be annoying, like how it just reset. I just basically just made an account for it just for this. Well, a long time ago, I used to be into online games. I used to be on this, on a lot of different type of online games. And that stuff will take your life. It'll take your life, like really take your life. That's why it's better when you can pull yourself out. I've been on games where in that virtual world, you're supposed to be rich in the game or whatever, and you just gotta just delete everything. That's the only way you can escape it. You just gotta delete everything. I don't care about the virtual currency or none of that. Just escape it. Because if you don't, it's gonna be hard when the time comes. I heard someone, my wife was playing a video yesterday talking about how a person has to be willing for when the time comes. They have to be willing to leave the world, because it talks about the feast, where it talks about the Lord invites everyone to come to the feast, and you just have to be willing to come to the feast. So when that time comes, I think you just gotta be willing to do it. I'll just make his eyes red. Just something simple. Yeah, that's too feminine. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff nowadays that can have a good purpose. You can use it for a good purpose, or it can become a bad purpose. It all depends on how it's used. And I feel like a lot of things nowadays are mostly used for bad purposes. And obviously, this has a lot of famous shows, famous idols and stuff. So it's one of those things where, I think that's a feminine eye. It's one of those things where I would use it with a grain of salt. I think only someone that's that pays attention to what they're doing should work this, because that's different things. Like for example, someone I seen where people, you may go in with a certain intention, and you may leave worse than you came. Like someone may go to preach something, preach the word, and end up getting caught in that world. Or lose their way. I can't find one. And I think it's very good if you can use different things to your advantage. If you can use different things to your advantage, depending on what you want to do, because someone may, they can end up doing this, designing characters and just doing illustration of day-to-day life versus things like that. And it can be influential, because a lot of people, it seems like they like to watch things. A lot of people like to see. They like to see when things happen. And maybe it's just a hat. Like this thing, I feel like once it's all put together, that's when it's gonna be something that makes sense. Because it's a thing as like an artist, like as you envision it in your head, it doesn't matter if you envision it in your head until it's visible to others and understood. Because that's the thing about art too. If you start it, you gotta finish it. If you start anything, you gotta finish it, because if it's halfway done or if it's partial, people can tell. They can tell when things are halfway done or partial, and it's never gonna be what you want it to be. Definitely gotta change his hair. Oh no. I gotta change his eyes again. And his hair. This thing has a lot of different stuff on it. I think it sucks the soul out of people though, when people get into these type of games, because the way that this game is designed, I just want to let you know how this, like, if someone was to actually get into like the online form of it, is where items are obviously, just like any other game, items cost money. So games design its way to where certain items that they know that people will more want, they make it cost more. So that you gotta do more to get the items that you want. When something like this, just software like this, obviously you can just get any item and download the person. And the reason why, I believe that, that's obviously different shades of colors of the tribes. I believe that Israel has a lighter skin tone, and Judah obviously will have a darker skin tone, by the way that certain verses in the Bible tell us. And people notice, they know that Judah has a darker skin tone. They know this because things like Benjamin, certain people, like how Jesus was able to go to Egypt, which the Egyptians are Hamites, and they're being their dark skin. And you got where Paul came up, and he was like, one of the Romans said, "Do you speak Greek?" And he even said, "Are you that Egyptian that caused trouble?" And Paul had to let him know that actually he was a Roman. I mean, he lived in Rome. He was a Roman by birth, but he didn't physically look like a Roman. and he was a Benjamin. See, trying to find a simple hat. Can't find a simple hat. Yeah, he was of the tribe of Benjamin, so he had a certain look to him. If I was doing any modern design, it'd be very easy. But doing biblical designs is the challenging part with this. And if I can find just one hat. Sometimes I would scan through and I'll take screenshots. I put just a bunch of items on the character and take screenshots of the names so that if I ever had to find like certain items, I would be able to find it because they all had their own names. And there's a lot of different software for animations. You can just make your own animation, and I'll show you if you was thinking of doing something like that, how to do it. See if I can. Hat was smaller than I thought it was. If you can just find a simple hat, that'd be just fine. I picture him. I don't know about that. I picture him with like it's a simple hat. Well, I picture him with a hat. It just seems to me would be the type to wear a hat. I just cannot find what hat. Let me just look again. He could have just had like a band like that too. That's an interesting idea. Obviously the reason why I'm not going with the classic design that a lot of people designed them as is because they didn't look like that. They wouldn't look like this. It's multiple layers. Also, the reason why they all have black hair is because the scripture says they have black hair. I'll show you. Here's a couple on their black hair. And here's what Yeshua says. Noah can make their hair white or black. It doesn't talk about different color hair for them because Judah didn't have other color hair. And that's just a couple verses on it. So their hair was black. You'll see that when they start to, as they get more, people become more aware that the design of Jesus, the new design that they had of Jesus with his the Leonardo, whatever that design is, they'll know that was just a design that they had designed real quick based off of someone else's ideas. Gotta go to a charger. All right, I'm gonna go. I might just go with a headband. Shouldn't be hard to find a headband. I would think. Think it'd be easy. No, that's a very strong color. Had to do some editing of his head though. That's okay. Let's go with. I think all I just need to do is his hair and his eyes. Should be good. I'm thinking. I think it should be good. Uh, and I'm pretty sure he would have had a beard. Now, if you know, a lot of them would have beards back then. There's even a verse in the Bible where it talks about, unless they were young, obviously, but there's a verse that talks about when one of the men had got their beard shaven off. It was like a shame to him. That's okay, I think. So they would have beards. So they would have darker skin. They would have a beard, and unless they're if they were some of the other Israelite um, uh, tribes, because it doesn't mean that they all had dark skin. But that was like a main color. You'll have different colors because obviously you have mixes where they would mix. Now, what was I looking for? The hair. I was on the hair. Just gotta find hair type. I feel like something just disappeared or something. That's okay, I guess. But I wanna give him a different him to look a little, because Joseph apparently, he was of the tribe of Judah, obviously, but Joseph and Mary, it kind of shows that they had some money because they had servants and everything, and Joseph was a carpenter. I don't know if they had money in the beginning, but they obviously the signs show that they had a lot of money later on. That's okay. So I just, this is how I save it. I just click and hold on them and download like that. And let's say if I wanted to save what they have on them, I have to turn it sideways. And I have to click view equipped market item data. And then I just screenshot it. And then once I screenshot it, I have it on what they have on them. So it's just pretty much this site thing.
You just basically make one, and then on My Gaia, then you click on Avatar Builder, and then can't believe I just did that. Let's go back, and then you just come here, and then obviously, since I picked a male, it only shows the male in there, but you can click this and show the female if you have to do a designing for the female. If you was going to go that route and design uh, anything. And for me, I have all my characters here, so I don't just have them all stacked up and not knowing who's who. And then I just find them, and there it is. There's Joseph. Now, since I have a certain amount of characters, sometimes if I have like what I need so far, then I'll animate. But with this one, I'm just gonna make sure I get everyone done first because I don't want to go back and forth, animate here, animate there. Otherwise, I would do that. But since I know what I need, I'm just getting all the characters of what I need in the New Testament and just putting them on there because I already have priests. But I don't know if, see, this is the thing. I don't know if they were following the priestly wardrobe rules. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. It doesn't seem like they were because it don't seem like they were keeping up with a lot of things. But I'm just gonna put them in there anyways because they weren't doing things exactly to how it's supposed to be. So we got Peter, Andrew. Obviously, that's 12. So just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 so far. 9, 10, 11, 12. So just four more. Four more of the disciples. And I'm not going to do Paul or the other ones right now because obviously they don't come to the book of Acts. And I got John the Baptist right here. This is about what he would look like. He would have the way that his clothes would be. And I don't know if prophets. I know there was a female prophet that was there when Jesus was a child. That's what I gotta do too, to make a young Jesus. I did not do that. I better do that. I'll make a young Jesus first. Did not mean to put that there. Probably should make him wear something else since he's young. I have read that on Josephus, it mentions Jesus it describes his image. It mentions him with short hair. But since a lot of us have a visual stain in our mind of how Jesus looked, I feel going close to the understanding of what people see him as with longer hair would help them accept the animation. Because I want to make it visually accepting for those who want to actually learn the Bible without add-ons. Because I find it where, a lot of these kids shows, they can make it fairly interesting, but they lack, what's the word? Like, meet. I don't know why my phone does that. It's been doing that for some time, just going to the home screen. So I'm just trying to make it where the kids can just sit there and actually like understand a lot of stuff, because like my son, he's about to be 2, and there's like no kid show that is without leavening. It's a lot of kid shows with extra stuff in it. I can't find his hair. Maybe on the last one. There we go. And oh, I don't know what eyes iPad did on them. Maybe hard to find those eyes again. Maybe. Let's see. I might be able to just get away with something. That's interesting. So it's just a couple different characters you gotta make. There's a few. You got to make after the disciples. I just have to make the priests, or the Pharisees and Sadducees. I honestly don't know what they would have looked like in that time. They probably just want to have robes or something, because from what I read, I just got to get rid of his mouth, throwing me off. From what I read, it seems like they definitely wasn't keeping up with what they were supposed to be doing. I wish I'm gonna get rid of. Okay, I just gotta make his eyes. I think I'm gonna give him different clothes, because I don't want it to throw things off. But yeah, Yeshua would have came from a fairly not poor. He would have not been poor. He would have been like a okay family. Though it may have slowly changed. He may have was okay, like having a decent amount of money at first, and could have lost some money, because it's mentioned that Joseph had either died or left, or we don't know what happened with him. But Joseph wasn't there anymore. But they had a decent amount of boys in their household. I would not know which eyes I had picked. Maybe we just go with something that would be kind of because this is just Jesus at, I think it was age 12 or 13. There's just one part where it's like a short part where he goes to the temple and he's talking to the doctors and the Pharisees and Sadducees, and at that time they're all impressed at his little wisdom. I think this is actually the eyes. It might be. It might not be. But they work. But we're gonna change his outfit. Probably just find something simple. gonna make them wear the same thing. And just give them maybe that. Yeah, we'll just go with that. Unless I can find something else. It's just, I think the kid scene only happens for a like a short verse, pretty much, maybe a chapter. I mean, not after a paragraph. So it's not much to it, but I don't want to put him in the older clothes. I gotta do a lot of different designing with Yeshua because he goes through it. I'll just stick with that because he's gonna be very small, and since I'm gonna shrink him, that should be okay. And just need some sandals. Something. I think he'll have a headband too. I'm gonna find a headband. I think that's a pretty decent shoe. Just gotta find a headband. Let's find something different. Is there something different? I thought that would be too big. I'm trying to figure out what other characters is in it. I know, obviously, you got Luckily, I made for my other animations a couple different Hebrews. So I have like obviously background characters because he did feed 5,000. So definitely gonna need a decent amount for that. So that shouldn't be no big deal. That's just combining those layering characters. If I can find a headband, thought it would be easy. So I'll just find another one. Let's just take that off. If I can find one, it's another headband. I could just use that blue one. not that bad. Maybe I'll just use that blue one. I think it's okay. Yeah, I'll just use this blue one. And there's Kid Yeshua. I need to change those sandals though. I think it's important teaching the youth the word. It's sometimes hard to get them to sit still and watch it. Obviously, reading and words with some of the youth nowadays, it's not going to be easy to get them to sit still. But I know for a fact that imagery, things as we're in a new time, we could do imagery. That's something that's very useful for kids. Find something. We'll just go with this one. Okay, that's good. Now I could do another disciple. I think Philip. Christian tradition describes Philip as an apostle who preached in Grecia, Samaria, possibly set his own connection. Was one of the men around John the Baptist. Oh, okay. Very well then. Who was the other one around John the Baptist? It was Philip and who? Let's see. Maybe if I got no one here. One of the men. Philip. John. Andrew. Andrew was around John the Baptist. So, okay. So Andrew. We're going to make Philip. I'll just keep these sandals. And let's give him a robe. Not much with the robes on this. I mean, it might be. I just don't know how to locate those. They just might be too deep in. So I'm usually searching around the last part or the middle or at the end. Let's see if I can find another robe. I don't know what this looks like. These look like robes. What's that? This looks like a robe. That's know about that. Just don't know about that one. Yeah, it seems more Japanese. Yeah. Yeah, that seems more Japanese style. Let's see what we got here. This is what I put on Ezekiel. That's interesting. It's very interesting design. Some things are harder to find than others. But I just made a little quick note yesterday saying I'm gonna be on at 3 p.m. from now on because I was looking at one of these YouTubers who he used to upload every day. Just because it's every day upload and just say something. And he just died. He was just a Christian messenger. His name was Final Call to '07. I seen him when he first started uploading his videos when I was real young. I was like still in high school or just getting in high school, and he was just uploading videos every day, just because, just uploading videos and giving messages. And he'll talk a lot about how the churches are changing and everything. And I understood that because at that time I was going to church and it was like the church was just, I couldn't even explain it, how the church was. But I can kind of tell what he was saying was true. And he was making videos for a long time, every day. Wasn't getting that many views, but he was definitely uploading them every day. And it was reaching some people. And then he died. And it just made me think, like, you never know when your time comes. You never know when your time comes because it's coming. All our times are coming. Whether we go alive or we go down. I already used that robe. Whether we die for him or we live, because there's a time that's coming where we're all going to have to show whether we're going to serve him or we're going to serve man. And right now is our most important time to take advantage of our chance to prove ourselves. Because it's only so often that we're going to have something where we can look at, like, something you did and you look back at it and be like, I'm glad that I did that. Because think about Daniel. He survived through the lions, and that's something that he doesn't have to go through all the time, but he can look back and be like, wow, you know, I really stood my ground there. And I can't help but think about all that in the book of Daniel because of him, because a lot of people, we look to Revelation all the time and we forget that there was a book that was written about Revelation before Revelation came. The book of Daniel. Daniel was he did so well that he got the you got the whole story. You got the end event before it even unfolded. And I think that's amazing. I think that's just amazing that Daniel had got that even before Yeshua entered to the flesh. And Yeshua revealed himself to him in his glorious form. So I just wanted to, I put that message yesterday, and I just want to, every day, if it's possible, to motivate someone to even because there's a lot of stuff in everyone's heart. We all have stuff in our heart. That's demonic. We all have stuff in our heart. Maybe we never put it out. Maybe we're waiting to put it out. Maybe we feel like we have a little more time to do so. So we're just waiting for that time to come. But I think, we should take this time and understand that. Let me just take this stuff off. There's a big event that's coming to take place in a little bit, very, very shortly. Because when that darkness sets in, that's it. That's when it's not going to be time to be doing animation. It's not going to be time to be online. It's going to be time to make physical action in the world. Because it's going to be a different time. Everything's going to be really different. It'll be a whole nother world. And it's coming. It's going to take place. That's why all I do is study these prophecies so that we know, so we're keeping watch. And just to know that we have the right prophecy. We understand the prophecy correctly. Because the prophecy does say, in the time of the end, that's when it'll be understood. If it wasn't for this prophecy, I would have been probably, still on Genesis, working on Genesis, thinking I have all the time in the world. I mean, which is okay, because you're doing the Lord's work. If someone's doing that, they don't know the times, and yet they're doing the work. That's good. But since knowing that time, everyone has their own different thing, and I feel a lot of people, especially on this channel, I feel a lot of you you're gonna realize different things when the time comes. You're gonna be able to be ahead of when that time comes, because a lot of people, when they hear those trumpets sounding, they won't know what to think. Just look what happened with this coronavirus. Who was ready? Nobody was ready. No, not a lot of people were ready for this event to unfold. Yet there's so many warnings everywhere that tells us that these things are going to unfold. Yet a lot of people, they think it's in another time. You can see a lot of pastors. They'll tell you. They'll say, "You think we're in?" You can just ask them, "You think we're in the end times?" Well, most of them will say yes. If they're honest, they'll say yes. They say it's impossible for it to be another time, because it's so many different things that point to this time. In fact, even science points to this time. Science says that there's not a whole lot of time left, like for Earth in general. I can't find another robe, so I'm just gonna get something else. But yeah, science, you can look it up. Look up what they talk about 2030. They think the world it's going to be horrible if they don't change things in 2030. They know it's going to be not that long after that. But that's just the world's estimate on that time. But I believe the estimates actually changed, because when they looked at that, they was charting things wrong. And I'll probably put something out for that, because I think it's interesting how the world knows this. Like, a lot of people in the world, they know what type of times we're in. And that's a lot of signs. It's a lot of signs for the times. I'm just gonna... Oh, no. It's a lot of signs. It's one of those things that, we gotta keep watch for. We gotta keep watch for different events that unfold, but not getting lost in a lot of people's ideas, because people are gonna have their own ideas. That's what's just gonna happen. They're gonna have their own ideas, and not every idea is correct. You have to live on every word of God. Not just our thoughts, because sometimes our thoughts that we get may not be right. We can't live on our own understanding. I gave this for the high priest. I wonder if they have any other colors. That's something that's too much. Doing too much. Yep. It's crazy when you think about it, that we're just in the times where it's all going to change, and it's going to be a whole nother world. Everything's going to be different. So that's why, especially from my brother, and I got motivated. I'm going to definitely do the gospel, sign the gospel. And I realized, another thing what I realized is it wouldn't be that hard to actually do the whole Bible, because most of it's just dialogue, not like not events, There's mostly just dialogue. I'm just gonna finish this guy. I think the most events you see is in the Book of Kings, around the King's times. Obviously, Genesis stories, Exodus, of course, and the Gospels and Revelation. But that's one of those ones where I try not to touch Revelation. I only touch it very lightly, because it's one of those books that has to be dealt with very carefully. And Daniel, I think for me, I believe Ezra is pretty interesting, because I think Ezra illustrates how the times were very different back then. We're in very different times nowadays than back then. At that time was very different. I'm just gonna go with that. Alright, let's just change the hair. But yeah, I know 100% that we are in the end times. And it's amazing to see how that time in the book of Daniel went to exactly 2,000 years after Yeshua's baptism. Because it could have went to any time. I'm going to tell you the truth. It could have went to any time, and I would have been fine with it. I would have been perfectly fine. I'm not trying to make no date setting or anything like that. It's not my goal. It's not my focus. My focus is getting His word out. My focus it was in the beginning just reaching the kids, bringing the word to the youth. That was my focus, and it's still my focus. Yeah, you can't hide truth where the truth is being said and being done. Let me change his eyes, throwing me off. It's all about keeping track of these things. Because if you force wisdom, you're not gonna have wisdom. And if you're overly prideful for correction and learning, you'll never have it. You'll never have understanding, and you'll never learn. But if you're patient, you can sit there and you can really absorb information. And it's kind of like, for example, let me explain this the way that was a man we was listening to yesterday who was explaining Revelation, and I think he explained it pretty well. It's like a movie, but not like a movie. It's more greater than a movie. Like, you know how you go to a show and then you jump in the end of the show, and you know how if someone hasn't watched a lot of it and they're kind of confused when they get to the end, they're like, what just happened? Like, who's this? Like, they watch a little bit in the beginning of the show, and all of a sudden they leave for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. They come back and then there's a whole another event going on. They're like, what's going on? Who's that? Where are they? Different things like that. It's the same thing with Revelation. If you just jump to Revelation and you read it and you think you know, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna think that, oh, that's a computer chip. That's a computer chip, and that's a this and that. You're gonna come up with guesses and different things like that. When you actually understand, you'll realize that a computer chip doesn't make you worship anything. Just putting the computer chip in you is not going to make you, because you got to remember what the mark of the beast is. It's a sign of worship. That's one of the biggest things that a lot of people are forgetting. They don't read the if they read Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, all the earlier books, they will understand what a mark is. Just like as we see in the beginning, who's the first person we've seen to get a mark? It was Cain. Cain had received a mark on him as a seal saying that no one can kill him. Otherwise, the Lord would have had vengeance on him. I think that's okay. So that's one of the biggest things that we've seen that happened with, in the beginning with the seal. We've seen that the Lord put a seal on Cain. Also, when the people had got they got the covenant, when they had got the first, all the laws and everything, the laws of Moses, they were supposed to know that the Lord said that was called a seal. By doing those things, is a seal. When they teach their youth, it was considered a seal. I think that's okay. Like, he gotta have a beard though. So it's considered a seal. So that's what the truth about a seal is. A seal is something that you do. It's something that shows who you are. When you're sealed, it means that that's who you have salute to. You're basically putting your allegiance to. So the real mark is a allegiance. Is when you first set that first start of allegiance to anything. That's when you're sealed. That's why Yeshua, if you know, he's the first seal. He's the seal when you accept him. His blood, when you take his blood, its seal is inside you, and you become a child of God. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people teach the once saved, always saved. Because if you have Yeshua in you, does that mean that you're once saved, always saved? That's the question. I don't know about this. I don't think so. Because based on scripture, reading carefully, we know that there's no such thing as once saved, always saved. Because we can go to multiple verses of people that had the Holy Spirit and failed and died. There's no such thing. That's once saved, always saved. Is a doctrine that churches teach. Rather, it's if you continue in Him, you'll live. If you continue in the ways of the Messiah, then He'll always continue in you. But if you test the Spirit, then you're in a predicament. And be glad. Be glad right now. All these things have been withheld from these times. It's been withheld. A lot of people over here faking the Spirit. They're faking it, a lot of them. But the Spirit will come again. And when the Spirit comes again, I think I'll go with that. When the Spirit comes again, then that's when you gotta be serious. That's why what I'm doing here, I'm preparing people who wants to be really serious, because a lot of churches aren't going to prepare you. They're not going to prepare you the way that you want to be prepared. And I know a lot of people, they want the hard word, not the easy. If you know, there's a scripture that says there's a people that want smooth sayings. Matter of fact, let me just go with that scripture, because I think that's really interesting scripture. Because if you know, that's one. Speak to us. Look at this. I want to show you this verse real fast. It says, it talks about the rebellious people and the lying children. They will not hear the law of the Lord. It says, which say to the seers. And the word seer also means prophets. It's just another word for the prophets. It says, say to the seers, see not. And to the prophets, prophesy not to us right things. Speak to us smooth things. Prophesy deceits. See, that's what a lot of these, a lot of people go to church for. They want that message that says, you know what, remind me that I'm saved no matter what I do. I just want to praise. I want to feel like I'm saved no matter what. No matter what I do, I'm good. I just want to know. And there's churches like that. That's those feel good churches where you go there that lost the doctrine of Christ. Because what does Christ teach? Does he ever teach that you're saved no matter what? No, he teaches go through the narrow. He talks about how so many want to go through this narrow gate, they're not able to. He say go through the narrow gate. Strive that you go through the narrow gate. That's what this is. So obviously, channels like this and different channels, they're not going to have a lot of views. And that's not what I made this for. I didn't made this to get a lot of views or get residue or all that stuff. It's about getting the message out, because there's going to be a time when that day comes where all that's going to matter is channels like this with actual words. And your channel, if you got a channel and you're speaking truth, that's where people are going to go to, because they're going to be looking around, and when that time comes, when the wrath is on a lot of people, there's only going to be maybe a handful of people who's still uploading, because everyone else is going to be being attacked by the wrath for 5 months. And those that's going to be uploading, they're going to look like they're at peace. They're like, well, how are you at peace? Because, after doing some research, the internet's still going to be up, because the internet is basically, it runs by itself in a way. It basically runs by itself, and to put it down, it will take a lot to even just put the internet down. The whole world will have to shut down. And a lot of things will shut down when that happens. A lot. And that time's coming. The scripture declares it. It talks about the darkness over and over. It talks about the woe as it being a real thing, not a symbolic thing. It talks about it being a real thing. And we know it's a real thing because it has time. 5 months is not a symbolic reference. 5 months is what it's saying. And that's why after that, the times and a half come. But don't get me wrong, it's still all about, lifting up the spirits. It's good to lift up the spirits of people, but people can't always forget. We gotta sometimes remember that the hard part of the Bible, which is sometimes you gotta go through the hard stuff so that you can live through the good. Because if you just want the good and not the hard, then usually that type of person will become greedy. And that's not what the Lord is looking for. He's not looking for people that want to take care of only themselves. That's why he's called the Father for a reason. When you think of a father, what does a parent do? A parent sacrifices their life and their time to invest in their child. A good parent, you sacrifice your time, your life for your child, because that's just what you do. That's just what you got to do. Yeah. They always have big eyes on this. Maybe it's the beard. Let's switch the beard. I don't think his beard looks right. What's up, brethren? What's going on? Just doing some character design here, as you can see. We die to ourselves. That's absolutely correct. We die to ourselves because everything that's in us, we have to push that aside. And when you do that, you show how you really are. You show what you're willing to do. You're willing to give up who you are to invest in Him. And that's what we got to do. We got to be willing to invest in Him. Well, maybe it could just be a little different. I don't know. Maybe I'll just make this character a little different. They all don't have to look the same. Let's just... yeah, let's just go with that. All right. So who would this be? Who are we making? Oh yeah, Philip. So we got a decent amount of characters here, I believe. I think we just now need to do who was it? Judas. Now this Judas is not the Judas who's the traitor. This is just, I think it's Judas, son of James. I wonder which James this is. I wonder is it James, Yeshua's brother? Because I read about this James and he called him James the Lesser, so that's why he don't have a beard. Like he's younger. And this Judas says he's from James, son of James. But which James is that? I wonder is that James Jesus' brother? Is that this James? Is it James the Just? Referring along with Jude. I wonder. I just gotta look that up because that's kind of throwing me off. Let's just type that all wrong. Obviously, no. I go by Yeshua, but you're gonna find stuff easier just putting Jesus. Okay, so Jesus' brothers and sisters. What is they saying here? So who the apostle named Judas? And James, son of. Oh, let's just do the character design. We'll look into that a little bit, and let's. I wonder how I'm gonna make Judas look. Judas, the traitor. I'm gonna have to make him look crazy. Got no choice. This is Judas, the one who wasn't the traitor. So he gonna be made with some respect. And I can't believe Judas did that. I can't believe he betrayed the Messiah like that. I don't understand. Like, he walked with him. I don't understand how your mind can get like that. To see all that work and just be like, yep, I'm willing to sell him out for 30 pieces of silver. Like, I don't understand that. To this day, I can't even comprehend it. It just doesn't make sense to me. He wasn't being threatened. He wasn't. He could have just left. He could have just walked away. He could have just left and went his own way. I don't see why he did it the way that he did it. Because 30 pieces of silver is not much. It's really not much. This is pretty crazy. I know one thing though. Now that in this time, we believe and we're sure and we have the Messiah with us, we're able to take this time and strengthen our faith. Like, I'm talking, the time that's coming is going to challenge your faith. It's going to challenge it. And you gotta be sure. You gotta ask yourself, why do you believe? You gotta be so sure. You gotta be super sure about yourself, about your faith. Where you can provide an answer for everything, because what's coming, I'm telling you guys, it's no joke. It's happening in our lifetime. And it's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about because it's so real that it's hard not to think about. That's okay. But we gotta be ready. We gotta really, cause remember what it says in the words that if possible, it can fool the elect, the very elect. You know, it really makes you think what would happen. You know, it really makes you think, what is he gonna do? Because we know somehow, some way, Satan fooled Adam and Eve. And obviously, you know, Adam and Eve, that was their first encounter with Satan. But let's not forget, he's the master of lies. The master of it. Father of lies. He'll probably do something to try to make it seem believable. Yellow. I don't know. I don't have no one wearing yellow, but I just wish this thing had more styles for the old styles. Where they at? Where they at? Let's see. I'm guessing that must be James' son, James the Just. Whoa, what just happened here? I'm gonna have to re-upload that one. That's just because Peter. There's a part where Peter's on the boat. It says he has his garment tied around him. I had to do the design for that one because that's what men can do. They can have no shirt. Sometimes they'll be completely naked. Oh, what the? Why is it doing this? Hi. But yeah, I've been doing a research on their skin tone because it didn't matter to me whether they were light skin or dark skin, to be honest with you. But it's just funny how all this information is available on their skin tone. When people say, "Oh, their skin don't matter," yet they make their skin tone one specific tone every time. Yet the scriptures say otherwise. Scriptures, other identity, other places, multiple areas show us the different color of tell us their color of their hair, tell the color of their skin, and it's something that can't be ignored. A lot of it can't be ignored. Because I mean, if it said that they had blonde hair and blue eyes, then we have to make them with blonde hair and blue eyes, right? What just happened? How did this happen again? Okay. Obviously, I always recommend having notes. Have an Evernote. I'm telling you guys, this time is coming. It's gonna happen. Why is that happening? I'm gonna close the app after this. I'll just close it right now. Close. Oh yeah, it's important to have notes. Because there's a lot of warnings in the scripture that talks about, for example, one of the warnings. What's happening? I was doing this. And that's something. But yeah, there's a lot of warnings that talk about how those times will come where everyone will be sleeping. You know how it talks about the 10 bridesmaids and it says that they all fell asleep. All that means is that they stopped growing, they stopped searching, they stopped seeking. Because like how we see today, everything's just out there, everything's known. There's nothing hidden anymore. Nothing. There's nothing hidden. Everything that's going to be revealed is when Messiah returns. Like everything can be found. There's information out there that can be found. I'm not even gonna put that on here because it seems like that's messing things up for some reason. And let's just put this on here. Did I finish him? I think I did. Is that? Wait a second. Let's get rid of that. I don't think I finished them. Oh, I just came here to look at them to see what their clothes look like again. Oh, I do have someone with yellow. I'm just trying to make them at least look like they make sense for visual. I don't got no one wearing all red. I'll just go with that. But yeah, it's you gotta have your faith strong, very strong. That's why these prophecies, they're one of the strongest things you can have right now. Is to know these prophecies, because if you know prophecy, it can't be turned away when it's done right. When you know the prophecy right, because most of the prophecies we have are already fulfilled, like the Daniel prophecies, the 70-week prophecy. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't change his eye color. That's possible, but it's rare. But, there's a lot of people today that are messing up the prophecies, like unfortunately the 7-day Adventists. They're slaughtering the 2,300-day prophecy, though Josephus already confirmed it to be fulfilled. Yet they think it's in 1844 still, though the person was severely incorrect. And I'm pretty sure if we went back then to those people who seen that day and afterwards, they would have never fell for what they're doing today, where now they're reamping the 2,300-day prophecy and making it where it seems like it's supposed to count for a spiritual temple, which makes no sense. If someone was making stuff for fun, this would be very, very easy to design characters. But when you're designing for biblical purposes, not so much. I think there's a lot of interesting software out there, different things that can be used for good purposes. And actually, the scripture talks about that. It talks about how the people will use other people's stuff. Talking about it in Daniel. I forget how it's worded. I think it's no, it's not Daniel. Ezekiel at the end, right before the Messiah comes. Rob those who robbed him. I think that's how it goes. Feminine eyes. Oh, man. I can't believe. Let's just zoom in. See. These eyes are just, they're too big. It's just a little smaller. We'll go with that. Okay, we have almost all 12. Okay. Oh, why is this happening? Today is the 10th. We have 5 more days for the unleavened bread. And that's something. This thing keep doing that. Maybe because it's too much images. Let's just. All right. So we got. All right, Simon. Simon's not talked a lot about, and this is not Simon Peter. This one's Simon Peter. And here we just have, we say, the brother of Jesus. That's interesting. How Jesus got one of his brothers to be his disciples. I just gotta look at Mary and Joseph. I'll just make him lighter skin. I did not know he had one of his brothers as his disciples. It's really interesting. Because that's not one of those things that's talked about a lot. But it makes sense because Yeshua, he was more focused on people that did his will. So if one of his brothers did that, that's good. But it didn't matter what they were. It just mattered if they kept his will. I don't know what the base beards look like. Probably look crazy. Looks like I thought. Then I'm gonna start animating on them. I know I had to stop and animate on them because it stayed on there. Because I was doing the animation, and I got to where Mary was there, and I was like, oh, I didn't design Mary, so I went and designed Mary, and realized it's a lot to have to design. That's okay. That's good. This is gonna be kind of like when I start animating this. It's gonna be kind of like if you see my Genesis animation, which was actually, believe it or not, that was a really hard animation. I could have made it a little better because now it's animation. That's what I was using. I was making basically these characters and also different different techniques and stuff to merge images together. So that one was obviously mostly effects because Genesis is the beginning. Like that's actually like the beginning of everything. I don't know why I keep giving them blue. Blue was like a rare, expensive color back then. But this looks like a nice color. I probably don't know which one. I said it was like gray or something. Or they had different clothes. I guess I'm getting the same thing over and over. But it's all good. I don't know. Just look at their clothes again. Okay, well, think. This one. This one's good. Just gotta change his eyes. So we just need to do Judas after this. Save him for last. Honestly, don't know what I'm gonna do with that. But it has to be done. It has to be done. But yeah, this, this should be definitely something that I was putting off for a while. But I think it'd be good. It'd be good for kids and the whole family. Just gotta find some eyes for him. If I can find some. Though I could, I could take clothes and kind of merge them on the characters. Because that's what I did for my. I'll show you real fast. Because there's no way of designing the high priest on this. But I took this wardrobe thing, and because this is exactly how the high priest clothes look like. It's so detailed. It was so fun to see how it was made. There's a video online on how they made the high priest clothes to a T, and then just kind of merged it on there. This one obviously needs some sharpening. The image needs some sharpening on the head and stuff. But that was the high priest right there. High priest clothing for Aaron, the brother of Moses. And that was just some merging on that. Also, another thing I could do, which is just stretching out the clothes and getting it to fit. I could do that, but that probably just take more time. So I'm just gonna work with what I have here, and I'm just gonna put the pieces together. Otherwise, that would just be a little more time on that. Let's see. And I see a lot of the designs where they only show them with like gowns and stuff. Like some movies when they design them, like they always have them kind of dressed like with these. Which yeah, they did dress like that, but they also wore pants. They did have pants back then. In fact, the high priest's garments were pants. All the way back then, they had pants. That was something that they would have, not just the classic biblical throw over clothes. I'll just tweak there. What? Oh, look at that. Someone's little art design. That's interesting. I wish they had something like this, but I can't find nothing like that. Matthew. Yeah, he would have done like that. Good idea on their clothes. It's like more people are realizing they were darker skinned. Yeah, little kid designs. Interesting. The 12 foundations, the 12 disciples. It is amazing. Let's just find these eyes. I think that's a feminine eye. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Oh. It's more fitting for Judas. Why do you have to do that? Let's go with that. Should I? Where's my disciples? Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of with Mary, but I picture her being very light skinned. Cause I was gonna go with the. I also had a darker Mary, but I picture her being lighter skin. This is a different. I think this is it. A little darker Mary. But I picture her skin being a little lighter. I'll just leave that there for now. Just to look at it. The idea. But finish with him. I think I download him. Oh, I was looking at James. Because they're supposed to be his son. At is how to change his eye shape. Kindness. I don't think this should be that long because I know when I did the Genesis one, that one took a long time to find all the little pieces and images for it. But since I have all the characters about design, all it should be is just having the different scenarios happen, the different things in the gospel. Which seems to be fairly simple. Just gotta find some eyes. Let's have different colors. What color did I make? Brown. Let's see. Probably choose brown. Just type brown. Just gotta do Judas after this. Treading it. What's that? It's a headband. It's a strange looking headband. This might be one. This might be. Nope. Nope. Thought it was. Everyone made, except for Judas. Dun dun dun. He had the money bag. I don't want it to look like it's frozen animation. Once I finish Judas, should be fairly simple, I think. I can look for hair at the same time. Well, if I remember, this thing takes off half. Yeah, that's what it does. Let's see. Judas. When you're designing the characters, it makes you think about them. I was just thinking about this before. I was saying I don't understand how Judas did this. I don't understand. Let's see. Just need a bag. That's all we need. Just a bag. If we can just get that. You got, what was it, 30 pieces of silver? 30 pieces of silver. On yourself. Maybe if I just, that's, purse. Just need like a brown bag. That's all you need. That's okay. That's fine. I think we got a bag. Now just give them. Need, oh no, shit. What is that? I wish that was black. Just gotta find. Just a simple shirt. And it should be. Let's go find the shirts. I think there's. Yeah. We'll go with that. See if they have any coats. They don't have a coat, then that's all good. That's all good. We'll just throw some sandals on and change the eyes. And we should be good. Let's get some. Oh, that's actually all I was looking for. Those colors. But kind of like how that looks. I don't know. Just leave it. Now I know. It's there. Now we just gotta do the eyes. Once we pick one of these sandals. And then we'll have all 12. Those fancy ones. That seemed like how Judas would look. Seemed like he'd be very materialistic. And let's get some red. Can't stop thinking about what he did. Judas, Judas. Looks about right. Might have to go with that one. I don't know. Wish I could be like, oh, there's a lot of good ones. A lot of ones that works. Just want the eye to look forward, not to the side. It seems like they have a lot of eyes that look to the side. Just want them to look straight. Or at least centered. Straight or centered. Right. Let's change the beard. And then we should be on our way to a decent little crew of men, I would think. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what we got. See how we feel. Okay. I think that's Judas. Okay. Let's do another look through. Judas, Simeon, what his rank. Oh, that's the wrong one. I better delete that one. You don't confuse me. Okay. If it shrinks again, forget it. Go ahead, strengthen. Good. Okay. I'm thinking. I think this is good. Just click them. Yeah. I think this one's better. Yeah. So, one, got Peter, Andrew, James, John, it might be hard to find John's hair again. I know John gets older. Oh, it might be hard to find his hair again if I made him John. Might not. It's okay. Let's just work with that. Okay. Well, I got the 12. Got Mary and Jesus. Got Joseph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Got the 12. And we got John the Baptist somewhere. That's Mary Magdalene right there. And we got John the Baptist right there. And that's good for now. Obviously, got to work on some character designs. I don't know if I have on here. I don't think I have Herod. I have Pontius Pilate though. Might as well throw him on here. If I can find him. There it is. And I probably need Herod. I didn't design any of my people to be Herod. Though I have design, have Romans, but this can't be Herod. I have to design Herod and the 3 wise men, obviously. I don't need to worry about these ones. Oh, Mary's sister Martha. Do I have? I had to look. I made one female. I don't know if this can be. Yeah. I don't know about this Mary Magdalene. Maybe I'll do another design for her. I think I made this one a long time ago. Martha. Yep, I don't have Herod. I have some of the females, and I don't have to worry about these ones. Lazarus. Do and there we go. That's all we need for now. I think we got enough to start off. Besides Herod, I probably should I'm just make them real fast. Um, shouldn't be hard. I'll just throw him in there. The last one, real fast. Might as well. Obviously, the Romans didn't have beards. That puppy. Change skin tone. What do they think Herod the Great looked like? Or Herod, not Herod the Great. Was he Herod the Great? I wonder was it just the yeah. Oh, so you had a beard, huh? I don't think so. He did. Maybe. Like an underbeard. I'll be the last guy who'll make. Should be easy. Get some hair. They say is Herod the Great really evil? Absolutely. Of course he was. grab some. Let's look for one more thing. Just some hair. Regular brown hair. Just type it in. Takes a lot of patience, even just to do some character designing, let alone the animation. But that should not be too hard with the audio already done. I could just find some hair really fast. Something. Let's jump to the last ones. Gotta put That's good enough for me. So I'm working with that. I'm okay with that. I can sit all day and work on hair. Okay. Now I gotta get a crown. Because that doesn't work. Shouldn't be hard. Should be one just sitting, waiting. Somewhere waiting. bet there should be one coming up. Oh, I want to do his eyes too. Just gotta find something acceptable. I think this. This was a little smaller. Though it could work. Roman crown. I can just find a simple crown. Notice one. What the? This should be. Oh, it changed his whole hair. It's too bad. It looked like a good crown. A decent crown. Just need a crown. Just need a crown. I know this has to be too small. Could just throw one of those Roman things on. I think I'm gonna just throw one of those Roman things on. Yeah, let's just do that. Look at this. Okay. That's good enough. Now I just need to go back to Greek because I think I saw a hair that looked like might work. Yeah, that's better. Should be easy to find some eyes from. Should find them fairly quickly. Oh, the eyes was that small. Let's just go with those eyes. Forget it. Let's find a mouth. Forehead looks so big. Oh, we gotta go with some different eyes. Just the last thing. And I believe we have Herod. Somewhere in between. Let's change his mouth. And we should be good. Yeah. Now we just need to cover his feet. That should be good. Let's just put sandals. These look like interesting. That'll be our Herods. I'll just leave it like that. So we got the last piece for now. Boom. Herods. Great. Got Herods. There we go. Or should I take away that little thing? I don't know. It's got too much leg going on there. I don't want to take away that piece. Dun dun. Yeah, let's just take it away. It's confusing. All right. There we go. That's Herods. Definitely Herods. All right, so I'm gonna continue on my animation, and I'll update tomorrow how that goes. But I wanted to make sure I get all the characters made, what I'm gonna make for now. And I think this is pretty much with them. Got Yeshua, got Mary, got Joseph, we got the 12, and we have John the Baptist. We got Martha right there. We got Mary Magdalene, which I might do some editing on. And I have Mary, sister of Martha. There was a lot of Marys back then. A lot of Marys. Must be a famous name. I think Joseph was too. We got Herod. And we got Pontius Pilate. And that's what we got for now. And we're ready to work on the Gospel of Matthew. We'll work on the Gospel of Matthew a little bit. And probably show how far I got in that tomorrow. And we're gonna end it here, brethren. And with that, be blessed, be beloved, and amen.